I can see I'm live on one. Am I live on the other? It's thinking about it. I'm live on both. Okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Springfield Public Library Book Break. It's a little bit of a different book break this week. I am by myself, and so it's going to be a little bit shorter, and I'm just going to talk about something a little different. On Saturday, we finished off our Springfield Celebrates Authors for 2022. Each year, with the generous support of the Friends of the Springfield Public Library and the Springfield Public Library Foundation, we run a program where we bring in local, national, and international authors. And this year was no different. So I'm going to share the 5 titles that we shared this year. And it's a little different in that I've only got 3 of them to share with you today because the other 2 are checked out, but you can still get them. These are all available from the Springfield Public Library. The first book we shared back in January was Braiding Sweetgrass by Robin Wall Kimmerer. This book has actually been out for a little while, and it's kind of come into its own since like 2015, 2016. And then at the start of COVID, as people had more time to garden and other things have been happening in society, people have, been following along with Native American ways and Indigenous ways of growing and gardening. And that's what this book is about. It is PhD, Robin Wall Kimmerer. She's also an Indigenous woman, and it's kind of a blending of those 2 parts of her and how each has affected the other. And it follows, talks about sweetgrass, obviously. It talks about various forms of Indigenous forestry, harvesting various kinds of food. There's a chapter about algae in a pond, which doesn't sound that interesting, I admit, on first hand, but I actually found that really interesting. And it's about life and motherhood, and it is an excellent book club book. We actually shared this as part of the University of Oregon Common Reading. It was their common reading book this year, and she gave a live talk about the book, and you can actually see that on the U of O Common Reading page, and I will share that in the comments or the description following this event. So that was Braiding Sweetgrass. In February, we had, and I don't have this book because it's checked out right now, we had Danuta Pfeiffer, local vintner and author, with her book Libertas. She gave a fascinating talk. This book is about a pair of former slaves, African Americans, crossing the Oregon Trail. So she gave this fascinating talk at Springfield Celebrates Authors in February, all about where she found her information and the various sources that she looked into to write this book. This is book 1 of a trilogy. And as I said, it is available at the Springfield Public Library. You can search for it, Danuta Pfeiffer, Libertas. There it is there. But you could also watch her author talk. We have a YouTube channel, youtube.com/wheremindsgrow, and we have a playlist, a Springfield Celebrates Authors playlist that you can watch. And yeah, like I said, she gave an excellent hour-long presentation about her book. So that is, if you're looking for some fiction and some historical fiction, Libertas. Okay. In March, we welcomed Kesha Ayose Fisher with her book, No God Like the Mother. This won the 2020 Ken Kesey Award for Fiction through the Oregon Book Awards. This is a series of short stories, some just a few pages, some a little longer. They are beautifully written. They will kick you in the chest. Not all of them, but there is just some beautiful stories in this book. There's stories that are set in Lagos, stories that are set in Paris, stories that are set in the Pacific Northwest. It's short, it's sharp. I'm really looking forward to reading more of her writing. And again, you can see her author talk where she talks about how different parts of her life affected and influenced the different stories that are within this just beautiful collection of short stories. I highly recommend giving this one a read. And I didn't mean to have my copy here today to share, but I left that at home because our copy in the library, as I said, is checked out and has been for quite a while. Okay, and then in April, Saturday, actually, we finished off with two books, two authors, who are both nominees for the Sarah Winnemucca Award for Creative Nonfiction through this year's Oregon Book Awards. As I said at the beginning, in January, we had the University of Oregon Common Reading. And then in April, what we like to do is we pair up with Literary Arts, who very, very kindly bring authors down to Springfield for us. And this year was no different. And so we were actually really lucky this year. We got two authors. So, Plastic, an autobiography. Okay. One day, as the author explained, there appeared in her front yard a large piece of plastic waste from a Honda Odyssey minivan. And so began her odyssey to discover, where did this piece of plastic come from? Like, how is it that it's made its way to my life? And so she went on her own odyssey to, track, where does this plastic come from? What kind of car does it come from? Where was it originally manufactured? Can she get this piece of plastic back to where it was birthed? Okay, and so it's a fascinating story. Again, you can watch her author talk on our YouTube channel, where she actually goes into great depth about the different kinds of plastic that have affected her life and why she'd been having this in her mind for a little while, even before the piece of the minivan turned up on her front yard. So, Plastic, an autobiography by Alison Cobb. And our final book of the year was The Heart of California, Exploring the San Joaquin Valley by Aaron Gilbreth. Now, back in the 30s, historian Frank Latta took a boat and some students, and they traveled through the center of the San Joaquin Valley, going along rivers and traveling through simply enormous lake that doesn't exist. It's not there anymore. Climate change, damming, all those kind of things have led to this lake just no longer being there, and it's no longer part of the community consciousness. He talks about asking people who live, literally where they would have been 40 feet underwater, have you ever heard about this lake? And they have not, which is fascinating. And the fact that parts of the towns are still named after coastal or lake geography. There's, Smith Cove and things like that. So he undertook the same journey, but rather by doing it in a boat, a la the 1930s, he did it by car in the middle of the 2013 drought in California. So again, like a really intense topic, and again, very, very interesting author talk, which you can view on our YouTube channel. So that's it. That's our book break for today. We should have two librarians back to do it next week, we hope. I hope you enjoyed that. But like I said, Braiding, Sweetgrass, Libertas, No God Like the Mother, Plastic, an Autobiography, and The Heart of California by Aaron Gilbreth. All of those are available to be checked out, or at least put on hold, at the Springfield Public Library. And I will put links to the author talks and other information in the comments below. Hope you enjoyed it, everybody. Have a great day. Bye. It's one, and